Alright, so Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 is finally out, and I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Okay, I thought it was good. If you haven't already, check out my other reviews for the previous parts so you understand where I stand with the season so far. But if you don't want to watch those, I thought Part 1 was pretty mid. I found a bit of new love for Part 1. I thought Part 2 was a better part than Part 1 in almost every way. And now that we're here at Part 3 and we can look at the entire season as a whole, I have quite a bit of thoughts. I swear, Kwan's death in this part, I always knew would mean nothing. They only did it in Part 2 for the sake of having two things happen. One, a massive cliffhanger, and two, to be used as a plot device for Kreese. There are so many aspects they could have went with Kwan's death, like maybe changing everyone's point of view of karate, maybe changing the kid's point of view of how going into a match is scarier than you would think. They could have gone in the route where all the kids are afraid to fight in every fight they have, maybe have one of them being nervous for their life because they're worried about dying in the match. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I started Part 3, I was shitting myself because I saw Master Kim and was getting flashbacks to Part 1, and I said to myself, oh no, we can't, please get him out of here, please, I beg you, just get him out. And when I said get out, I didn't literally think they would get him out. I think one thing that is a major upgrade over Part 2 is that Part 3 didn't waste any time and kind of gets into the aftermath, whereas Part 2 kind of used its first episode as a recap of what happened an episode ago for like no reason. Even though I think that first episode of Part 2 is definitely better than the beginning of Part 3, I think Part 3 did a better job at seamlessly just moving on to the next portion of the story compared to Part 2. God, man, I wish I felt better for this plot. I genuinely, overall, after watching the entire season, I still don't know how to feel about this plot. In Part 1, it felt kind of interesting, but it went in a weird direction. And then Part 2, they tried making it more interesting, but made it goofy by having Daniel get locked up in a cage, and they just went in a weird direction. But then they made it kind of intriguing by saying that Mr. Miyagi ended up killing someone in one of the matches. But then here in Part 3, they backtrack completely. Like, there's a very nice moment between Miyagi and Daniel in a dream sequence that's kind of closure. You have like a pretty somewhat good ending of it. You have Mr. Miyagi telling him like, you don't need to fight anymore, all the answers are in your heart. And that's kind of the best way you could go about an answer like that. And that answer kind of leads to Daniel's end of the arc, where he's saying that Miyagi-Do doesn't need to fight anymore. I've accomplished what I've wanted. I've spread Mr. Miyagi's teachings. And they go about the way of saying like, oh, he was a good person. I'm using the good lessons he taught us. And he was just human, and humans make mistakes. But for some unknown reason, they decided to backtrack and say like, yo, Mr. Miyagi actually did nothing wrong. He was just defending himself. Why? Because you went from making Mr. Miyagi feel finally human, and you humanize a character that has been put on a pedestal, to then just put him back on the pedestal. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, like obviously honor Mr. Miyagi, but it just feels so random because you gave us a pretty good answer to the ending of the arc, and that's just humans make mistake, and Mr. Miyagi made a mistake. One thing that also really made me mad is they never mention anything about Mr. Miyagi's killing in the tournament. It's said once in a dream sequence, but we're never actually like given a resolution about it. So they just introduced that big important thing in episode 9 just for it to not have any sort of conclusion. Honestly, that kind of goes the same for other people's arcs in this season. Like Chosen's arc was it just ends off in a very way. Like, it's the very cliche like, that wasn't my true love, but this is. Master Kim and Kim Dae-yoon were both characters that I never genuinely liked, but seeing Kim Dae-yoon kind of move away from the part definitely made the part better in my opinion, and they end her off in a way where they could do something more with her character. Sam's plot in this part is mainly about how she doesn't want to compete anymore because she's not fighting for anything and more wants to focus on going to Okinawa. And that whole Okinawa thing kind of resolves in a very nice ending with Miguel, with both of them going to Okinawa together. Overall, a lot of people got happy endings, and I think that's best for the show. But the show did so dirty to some side characters. Devin and Kenny were meant to be like these bigger characters that we would stick to, especially in part 2. But in part 3, they don't even have like a single word of dialogue. They gave Anthony LaRusso dialogue, but not Kenny or Devin. Which only further pisses me off because Robbie worked so hard to get Kenny back in Miyagi-Do just to not have them have a single scene together. Like, you really could have just inserted Kenny in this moment here, but you just decided not to, and I will never understand the reason why you would do such a thing. Which, you know, on that topic, I have a very fun segment. It's called A Whole Bunch of Stupid Shit. What the actual fuck? Why are you two even considering going to do you not realize what they've made? They literally made an AI look better than most MCU films CGI. Like, what? I'd like to imagine Kreese is just sitting on the corner of a boat for that long just to inevitably die. Look, this is a really cool moment and I genuinely do love it, but how the fuck did they get the geese with their names on it so fast? I don't think the writers realize how much of a screw up this one shot is. Johnny's mom dying in 2007 heavily contradicts the fact that he missed Robbie's birth. Did I also mention that somehow a bunch of teenagers made the greatest AI in the world? Alright, I think that's enough. Alright, my very first prediction. Robbie gets injured, Miguel ends up being captain. My second prediction is I don't think Daniel will want to return to the tournament. I think it's going to be very much a one-sided deal with Johnny somehow convincing him to come back to the tournament.
I get Robbie, but you and Sam? Why are all the original Miyagi-Dos suddenly okay with not fighting?
And I guess I'll just say another random one. I think Johnny's Cobra Kai might end up returning because there's like a single frame of like the old Cobra Kai of the yellow and black Cobra Kai gi. I am literally a saint. Shaquille, you know what to do. Damn, I feel bad for Robbie, dude. They could never service everyone as a fan. They could have never pleased everyone because it's just hard to do that. To those who thought Robbie would win, I'm sorry, but there was no way in hell he would have, because it would have just done a misservice to the character that started it all in the show. And the thing that makes me feel bad is the only way the writers saw satisfying everyone was by giving Robbie the first half and then giving Miguel part 3. And for the most part, I think they did a pretty okay job by ending Robbie's arc. It's very much the twist of how Johnny took the loss in Karate Kid part 1. Instead of it demoralizing Robbie, he let it just make him realize how much he's gotten. It's a really good scene and both of them act their ass off here, and it's a great moment that not only just shows how much a win doesn't mean to Robbie and how much of a good character he is, but holy shit, I aged an extra 20 years watching this scene cause I almost lost my fucking mind. I literally called it bar for bar, word for word. They literally did it. I don't care how stupid it is that they managed to get those geese in the matter of like 10 seconds. The fact that they played Thunderstruck behind this scene and they brought back Cobra Kai with Miguel as captain and Johnny in his black gi. Such a full circle moment, and it only begins the ending steps of the show. The fact that Daniel also helped Johnny bring back Cobra Kai means that his arc throughout the entire show, not just this season, also went full circle. And I think the way they handled bringing back Cobra Kai worked extremely well. It services not only Johnny but Miguel and Tori, and the way they ended off is just beautiful. My only wish is we got more scenes of Miguel and Johnny together, because to me, and the way I love the show, they are the core of the show. The best moments in season 1 were just the moments they were together in the dojo, and I wish we just got more of that. Because don't get me wrong, this scene is really, really good, and the way they play it out is really nice. But holy shit, could you imagine if we got one after they won the tournament? Holy shit, I'm actually fucking dying. You don't understand how fucking hilarious it is that this guy was in my comment section in the very first video talking about,
oh, Robbie's holding the trophy, he's gonna win.
God damn it, bro. Oh my god. And speaking of the tournament, I genuinely don't know how to feel about the Sekai Taikai after an entire season. Don't get me wrong, I love the fights that we got here, especially in part 3. Even though there was just a handful of fights this part, I think they managed to still give us overall some pretty good fights. I just think the rules of the tournament are so backwards because they'll change every 3 seconds, and even though the tournament is supposed to be this big international thing, it just doesn't feel like it. Could you imagine if they had like an actual kind of Creed way of doing things where there's commentary over the fights, where there are like pre-fight interviews and post-fight interviews? They really could have leaned into the whole international thing. And they were so close. They brought on fucking ESPN commentators. Just like the rest of the characters, I kind of forgot to mention that Kreese and Silver died together. The fact that a boat exploded just because Miguel's grandma had diarrhea is always just fucking crazy to me. What I think makes me more mad is we had this beautiful scene with Kreese and Johnny, and they're making amends. He finally gives Johnny Cobra Kai, and then he dies in the end of the episode. And then we proceed to go through 45 minutes of no one mentioning where Kreese or Silver is, even though Silver literally threatened Johnny's family right in front of him. They don't even bat an eye as to where he could be. You know, that was a pretty big explosion. I would expect maybe like a news article about it. For some odd reason, they decided to give Silver kind of a new motive, and I don't think it really does much for the character. It tries to humanize him, but it just doesn't work because the guy wants to kill a baby for a child's karate tournament. By the way, let's not forget that he wanted to harm a baby because of a karate tournament. Holy shit, William Zabka acted his ass off here. As much as I don't like Kreese as a character, this part really tried its best to make him human, and I think this scene really solidified it for me. The fact that it's been like 6 seasons and it took that long to have a scene between these two where they can finally just confront each other, it's just like amazing. Forgot to mention this, but I genuinely hate how they mention in the beginning of the part that, oh, we will honor him, we will make Quan look good for the tournament, all these things, and the only thing they did was literally mention him once and then never again. Which, if you didn't realize, I wanted to do that so I could segue into me talking about the tournament, because I kind of moved away from it. You get the whole gist. The fights here were so unbelievably good, dude. Like, the results of most of the fights were pretty predictable, but the fact that they still satisfied me is so crazy. I know I said this last part, but like, damn, I think I have like an all-time favorite fight now. Axel versus Miguel was so unbelievably good. The fact that they managed to put a flashback to each important moment of every season for Miguel into the fight is just like, it's beautiful work. Like, honestly, like Johnny meant it when he said, use everything you've learned, put it all on the mat. And then the fact that they actually stuck to their word and used all the lessons from every season, it's just like, how can you not get hyped? And him giving him the Ali's headband, it's just like, holy shit, dude. It's such a good fight, and the score that was playing behind it all, it's just like, oh, dude. Oh, but I can't believe they went in the unpredictable route again. And you would think, because everyone's talking about,
oh, who's gonna win the tournament? Oh, is it gonna be Robbie? Is it gonna be Miguel? Oh no, I think it's gonna be this.
Because the show literally said, no, that doesn't even matter. Those guys, yeah, they're nothing. Because here's Johnny Lawrence versus Sensei Wolf. Again, a very random rule from the tournament, but it's still so unbelievably sick. Because before the fight, you get to see in the final episode Johnny and Daniel training together with this ungodly song, dude. For me, the fact that they managed to pull off all these fights in a satisfying way, especially the last fight with Johnny and Sensei Wolf, and the fact that they managed to tie a bow around the entire season as a whole, the entire show, and even Karate Kid Part 1 is a testament to what the writers could accomplish with Part 3. Just the little details of naming the final episode X Degenerate when the first episode of the entire show is Ace Degenerate just shows how much the writers did care. And then having Johnny finally win, it's just like, what else can you have for a good ending? And it's not even just that. The fact that they managed to have Johnny get married, to show Johnny's new kid, to show that Johnny has a new home, and to show all these things in just one part alone just really shows you how good Part 3 is. Cause yes, the season overall had so many problems in my eyes, but the fact that they went out of their way to do all these things to end off the show and to really show you what this show was all about just goes to show you how good of an ending it is. And that goes for every single main character. Sam, Daniel, Miguel, Tori, Robbie, all these big characters got their ending. Miguel winning the tournament is a full circle moment, and seeing him and Johnny in the Cobra Kai gis standing together with the big sensei moment together, and then Miguel winning, like, how can you not be a fan? Tori finally getting her big win after the rough season that she's had is also, again, how can you not be a fan? But then to tie it all off with Johnny and Daniel working together, with Johnny being in Cobra Kai and Daniel continuing to be in Miyagi-Do, just a great way to end things off. Especially that ending scene. I thought the ending scene really shows you how these two styles will always exist, because Daniel wants to catch the fly with the chopsticks and then Johnny comes in and then kills it. So it just like, yeah, can't forget about the GOAT, you know, the number one GOAT, my number one, my day one GOAT. We can't forget about him. Just realized I went through this entire review without mentioning like Axel or Zara at all, but like they were fine, I guess. Like I still think Axel is a pretty okay character, because they should have honestly focused more on him rather than Quan, but it's fine. He's an okay character. And as for Zara, I actually just don't care about you. Hawk and Dimitri again are put to the side this time around. They don't really do much other than really talk about their college again, and the fact that they're going to college together, and that Dimitri finally shut the fuck up about MIT. It's a fine ending, I guess. I really hope I didn't miss anything else, but I think that's really all for Part 3. To summarize my thoughts, I think Part 3 did a fantastic job at closing pretty much everyone's arcs. Yes, there are some problems. Again, it's just Cobra Kai, like there are always gonna be problems, but the fact that they closed off Daniel and Johnny's arcs in a way where they're both together and they both can coexist works so well. The fact that all the kids got a good ending, Sam and Miguel together, Miguel winning the tournament, Tori winning the tournament, Tori and Robbie getting to be kind of these karate ambassadors, it works again very good for the characters. Unfortunately though, again, that can't be said for most of the other side characters. They're again just side characters and they're heavily sidelined here, so you can't really say much about them other than like Hawk and Dimitri that get like little moments together over the 5 episodes. Overall though, Part 3 had amazing fights, amazing moments, full circle moments. Getting to see all these characters again together and winning just works so well. The standout moments are Miguel winning the tournament, Cobra Kai coming back, Johnny being sensei'd by Daniel and Chosen, and then Johnny winning the tournament. It's all so good. But here is the big genuine question. What are my thoughts on the overall season? Season 6 was the first season of Cobra Kai where I've genuinely been very critical of it. Before, whenever a new season of Cobra Kai would come out, I would just genuinely enjoy it and not care more. But this time around, I was very much looking into things too much. I was looking into the stories a lot, and I was genuinely caring about where things were going. And I still stick by my point of this season feels very weird because of the weird scheduled release. I now see why they released it in parts, because if all of this came out in a day and you would binge it all together, a lot of this season would not make sense. They jump around so many places and each part just feels like an individual kind of story, and that's why I think they released it like this, more or less also because Netflix just wanted to milk the franchise a little bit more. I think part 3 though did a good job at closing everything, but I think part 1 and 2 did a job at setting them up. I still think this season as a whole is very, very enjoyable. I don't know if it's my favorite season just because of how critical I've been, but now that I've gotten to see the entire story play out, I think I can confidently say though it is a good season. The problem is, in my head, I can't look at season 6 as a season. I look at it as parts. That's why it's so hard for me to genuinely enjoy it a lot, because whenever I go on a rewatch, it's like, I'm gonna have to go through part 1 again, and then I have to suffer through part 1 because I had so many problems with it. But then when I get to part 2 and 3, I genuinely enjoy the season. Along the way, yes, I've had my problems with the entire parts, with all of them. I've had my problems with it. Yes, there is stupid shit, but there's stupid shit that make the show what the show is. So in conclusion, yes, I enjoyed part 3. Yes, I enjoyed the season as a whole. I don't think this season is bad, even though a lot of people assume that I think this season is bad. Again, I want to state that it's actually not my fault that Netflix released it like this. So to those who are going to go in the comment section like, oh yeah,
I told you, you should have waited for the entire season to come out before I made an opinion.
it is not my fault that they released it like this. But yeah, I think that's all my thoughts. I really hope I didn't miss anything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Cobra Kai. It's gone now. It's ended. So I don't know what else to really say other than like, yeah, it's been a pretty interesting couple of months making these videos, but I don't know how to end the video. Thank you for the views. Thank you for shitting on me a lot, and thank you show for making very good content out of me, and yeah, I really enjoyed part 3, and I really enjoyed a lot of the moments in part 3, and I'm saying a lot, but like yeah, you can honestly, yeah, just close the video. Thank you.